Welcome back, everyone, to the Crafty Crew podcast. I'm Kinger. I'm joined, as always, by Mark.
Guten Tag.
By Nally.
Well.
And by Walshy.
Merhaba.
Merhaba? Where's that now? Where's this from?
That is, with a lot of searching, I came up, it is hello in Turkish.
Fair enough.
I mean...
I guess we apologise to all the Turkish people listening for that horrible butchering of your language.
Butchering the pronunciation.
Oh, probably, very much so. So now I'm a travelled doctor, so...
Well, she's just said shit in Turkish or something like
Hey, look, there's a very good chance of it.
I'm glad you've brought up being a doctor so early, Mr. Walsh. After the shade you threw our listener Olin last week about claiming he wasn't a doctorate, he sent into the podcast some evidence.
Oh, yeah?
So, firstly, here's him in his doctorate robes, receiving his doctorate.
Love it.
Fair
and then
enough.
here's him
Fantastic.
holding his doctoral dissertation.
That's fair enough.
So he has responded with, "Where's your evidence?"
To be fair, we should be on the same side. It's a hard job out there, and when we do get to do that ale trail that Kinger's like, we will, go into a doctoral discussion over a nice craft beer.
Well, this episode's gotten off to a flying start already. It's brown ales. I wince now when I think of brown ales because
Booze.
yeah. So the podcast has history with brown ales. Does anybody want to remind everyone what happened? No.
Yeah. So on one of them, Kinger, was this you or Walshy that shit the bed for this one? Because one of yours ended up not working, and this is one of the fabled lost episodes that we've had to re-record, which is a terrible shame that we have to drink more beer, but for the listeners, we'll plough through.
We'll plough through. Can you remember what beers we had?
Yeah, I remember one of them was the Lochgill Macadamia Nut McNutty, and that was a just beer from the Crafty Crew.
The other was Larkin's Not My Gumdrop Buttons, and despite a fantastic name and artwork on the can, that got a very hard booze. And Walshy has been campaigning since we've had it to have it downgraded because that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a great experience in our last episode, so we've changed tack. We're not going back there. We've got some new brown ales to try tonight. So Kinger, what's on the menu?
Well, Nally picked them, but we're going to be having Bambricks Brown Ale from Ballykilcavan, and we're also going to be having the Ocean Wide Brown Ale from Whiplash, which I'm really looking forward to because I can see maple syrup and chocolate malt on that, which I'm very excited by. Yeah,
interesting.
Nally, let's start off with some brown ale facts.
Yeah, so for brown ales, they're one of the styles of beer that are named for the colour of them. So, we've had amber ales recently and we've had red ales in the past, Irish red ales. So brown ales are just named for the colour as opposed to, IPAs, which are also named for the colour. But, so with brown ales, what happened was back in the 1700s, they used to be made with brown malt explicitly, which gave them that kind of brown colour. And then they kind of fell out for a while, they were made with brown malt. And then in around the early mid 19th century, they kind of came back a bit, and what happened was brewers started making a lot more beers with pale malts around then, because the pale malt was a lot cheaper and it was a lot easier to come by, so you get a much higher harvest of pale malt, which meant that for brewers it was less expensive to make ales, and that was all pale ales then at the time. And then after that you got some roasted malts and stuff being made, which led to, kind of porters and stouts. So brown ales kind of fell out of fashion for a good bit. Nowadays, when they're being made, they're not explicitly made with brown malt. They're a similar recipe to pale ales. So they use, just normal pale malt. And then after that, they'll add in some of those specialty malts like chocolate malt or caramel malt to give it that kind of colour and flavour. With English brown ales, they tend to be more on the low hop side, so they're a real malt forward beer, and they kind of give you that biscuity toffee kind of flavor, and because they use some of those roasted malts, that kind of you get kind of nutty flavors, or caramel and stuff like that in it as well. And then you have American brown ales, which are, higher hopped brown ales. So you use a lot of the American hops, and they're around the same ABV and everything. They're just higher hopped, so they're not as sweet. They're, as you'd expect with a higher hopped beer. And then there's a third kind of style that's not as common, and it's a lot harder to find. They're Belgian brown ales, or Flemish brown ales, I think they are. And basically, they're kind of like a sour version of a brown ale, which is weird to think of, but a beer for every occasion, I guess.
Yeah. So moving on to your point, Natalie, about how you're saying they're a bit cheaper. So they really kind of came to the fore a bit in the late 1910s and early 1920s. So after World War One, with rationing and stuff, the whole of Europe was in this massive stage of upheaval. And in England in particular, they didn't really have many raw materials, and things like your pale malts and stuff, with the competition for it, prices are sky high. But brown malts would have been relatively inexpensive at the time. Also, at the time, brown ales would have been lower in alcohol content. So, in terms of other ingredients, basically the entire raw material process was cheaper. They're cheaper to produce, and so the British government were, pushing them as an alternative beer because they were using up less materials, of which there was a general shortage. And that's kind of where some that were around gained popularity, and then some new ones came to the fore. And at the moment, there's kind of two big ones. Mann's Brown Ale, which is based out of London, and Newcastle Brown Ale. So I've seen Newcastle Brown Ale around the place. I'm sure we've all kind of seen it or heard of it. Mann's Brown Ale is actually just as big, if not bigger. And it's just kind of like the Southern English brown ale. It's a bit of an interesting story behind it. The guy who came up with it, a guy called Thomas Wells Thorpe. So he was working for the Albion Brewery in London, and he was trying to recreate Bass Pale Ale, which is another pale ale in England. And at the time, that was like, if not the most popular beer in England, it was one of the most popular, and it was at one stage the biggest beer in the world. So he was trying to recreate this. He fucked it up, basically, and what he ended up with was a brown ale. And they called it Mann's Brown Ale, and they licensed it and sold it all over London. They called it the sweetest beer in London. That was its catchphrase. And it's kind of what's knocking around as Mann's Brown Ale now these days. But what I find funny is you can still buy Bass Pale Ale. It's not very great, in my opinion. And just to put it in some context, if you go into Northern Ireland or to the UK, it's literally the cheapest beer in like Asda and Tesco. There is nothing cheaper. Even it's as cheap as Tesco's own brand stuff. So
really?
that's wow. So that'll show you what people think of Bass Pale Ale. And it's a weird name. It's obviously a family name. You don't really hear it knocking around anymore. I'd say all those family members changed their name out of shame from that. The only person I know is that there's a guy called David Bass. He's a jump jockey, and with the national Grand National being on around this time, or Cheltenham wasn't that long ago, I kind of seen him in in the papers or whatever. But yeah, even him, he's not very good. So not only is the name Bass bad, but the only Bass I know is David Bass, and he's a bit of a shithead. So
there is also an American footballer called Dave Bass, I think.
Oh, that's right. He's a kicker, isn't he?
Is he? Yeah, he's a kicker.
Yeah, he's a shithead as well.
Kickers aren't real people.
Kickers aren't real people.
Just on that one that you're saying, Mann's, Mark, as well. So Mann's, it's strange. Mann's is only 2.8% ABV, which is quite low. Even for brown ales, they tend to be, they can be down as low as about 3.3 or whatever. But 2.8% is quite low. But in the 80s, 1980s now, not the 1880s, bit more recent. But in the 1980s and stuff, what they used to do is they used to use Mann's Ale as a mixer. So for cocktails and stuff, you'd be using Mann's Brown Ale as a mixer. Wow. Because it's only 2.8%. Ew. I mean, I don't know about you, but a beer cocktail sounds like something a bit mental, and I need to try one.
Actually, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Well, true to form for me, I just kind of looked up what brown ales are good for in terms of pairing them with food and stuff. So The hint of caramel and chocolate that you get with them sometimes pairs them quite well, or like roasted pork or smoked sausage and kind of real hearty foods. So like they complement like nutty flavors of like maybe a chicken satay or a cashew chicken, or even with a dessert like you could have like pecan pie or a peanut sauce like with ice cream or something. So brown ales go very well with that, which I mean I'm always on board with some good food, and if I compare a beer with it, I'm even happier, you know.
I would like to point out something from last week. Kinger kind of put me on blast for not having a fact on point, as in gluten free. I just had standard beer once. So I'm getting a little bit closer to home here. So did you know if you blend all the colours together, you get brown?
Can I just ask, did you use your mouth and digestive system to run this test while she...
Oh,
while she ate a packet of Skittles and saw what came out and was like, "Yep, it's brown."
That's
Blue
what I
M&M,
found.
green M&M.
Okay,
They all wind up the same.
I could throw
colour,
another
yeah.
one. That's what I found. Brown is considered an earth colour because it is found nearly everywhere on Earth.
Ah.
Now, see, that's what I learned in bollocksology school.
I don't think you're going to see too much brown in the north or south poles.
Or in the sea, which is
sure.
70% of the Earth.
I'm sure if you get to the bottom of the ocean, there's probably dirt and soil there. I don't know. I've never been there, so I don't know.
All right, look, let's crack on. Let's crack on and try these brown ales. Jesus,
Well, she's not been to the bottom
Jesus,
of the Mariana Trench.
Come here. I have to tell you, while she texted us before we started recording the podcast, going, "Can I do a bit of a weird fact?" And we all said, "Absolutely, go for it." And I mean, he's delivered, so you can't really complain. You can't complain.
Can I just say, before we dive into these beers, like we have these different episodes where like somebody will favour a type of beer and they'll love that episode, and then vice versa. You might not like it. When we first did brown ales, with the exception of Nally, who is partial to an ale brown ale, we were all quite hesitant, but went in with a really, optimistic and open-minded viewpoint and got shat on for that. And so I think this is a weird episode because I'm coming into it with a negative viewpoint I need turned around, and I'm really hoping that these couple of beers do that. So I just wanted to know, Walshy and Kinger, are you kind of in the same boat as me?
A little bit. I have had one or two beforehand, and one or two that have been nice, but after Gumdrop Buttons, I'm very hesitant.
I think I was one of the more positive reviewers on the brown ales the last time. I thought
You usually are.
No, I know, but I going in, I was very hesitant, and then I think I really enjoyed the gingerbread one, just because the cinnamon taste really came through. So I'm actually quite positive about these. I'm looking forward to them. The Whiplash one for sure. Like I'm a devil for maple, so like Anthem Maple, I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah, Nally, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've had one of these before. The Ballykilcavan. There's not a whole load of brown ales. There's a few out there, but there's not a whole heap that are readily available at the minute. But
Yeah.
it's been a while. I'd say it's been since before lockdown 1 when I last had it. So I'm
Okay.
kind of, it's almost fresh to me. And the Whiplash one I've not had at all. And like you, Kinger, I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot. It looks like there's a lot going on in it. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So I reckon let's kick it off with the Bambricks Brown Ale first and see how that goes.
Okay, let's do it. Mark, very quickly, are you a fan?
Yeah, it's cool. It's almost got like a Halloween theme to it. It's like it's hard to describe. It looks like a griffin. It's like black. Sorry, so it's like a red background, like a red sun going down, and it's got this big black griffin kind of thing. He looks like he's attacking a farmhouse. It's an American brown ale, so I don't know. Maybe wherever it's from. Leash. Maybe this is a thing that happens in Leash. I've only been there for Electric Picnic, and I can't really say I remember much of that. So, yeah, but yeah, it's grand. I wouldn't say it's exceptional though, Kinger. I think it's just a nice can. Like,
it smells very. I'm assuming that's a real malty smell.
Well, if you had told us to open them and pour them out, I might have got there with you. But
I only talk about the can when I'm filling time for us opening the cans. Like, you know that at this stage.
Maybe some people do.
Kinger, wait, how do you look like a professional?
You and me, Walshy. You
Hey,
and me.
look, that's what it's all about.
I didn't know either. I just cracked it open because I assumed I was behind everyone.
Yeah, I mean, smell instantly is very malty. There's a like caramelly as well. I think is that kind of. I know we
Yeah.
spoke about them being in the kind of main taste, but that's the kind of initial smell.
Yeah,
that you
kind of
get.
caramel toffee, kind of burnt toffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a really
How
good.
did you know it was burnt toffee?
Well, you know, I am literate and can read the side of the can, but
Oh, okay, cool.
but the
just making sure.
the head retention's really good in it as well. I'm pouring it out. It holds the head
Yeah,
really well. So
it
it
is.
does.
does.
Usually sometimes we
And
take the piss out of Kinger for not going with, as Mark says, the tulip style glass. I've gone full on old school pint glass for this, and I'm very happy that I have.
Yeah, it's a real old fashioned kind of beer. You want to get an old fashioned kind of glass.
There's no markings on this glass at all. It's just a proper old dirty pint glass, like.
Which which to me is what a brown ale is. It's a dirty old pint. I don't know why I have that in my head.
Yeah, I can see where you get that from, though.
Yeah, this thing is dark, isn't it? Like it's not brown, it's black.
Yeah,
almost.
it looks like a porter.
It
Looks very
does. Yeah.
black to me.
Yeah,
It's got a real sorry, but like to talk on your burnt toffee kind of taste, burnt caramel. When you get your first whiff of it and your mouthful of it, it really does have that burnt flavour to it.
Yeah.
And it's really deep and rich, like Scrooge McDuck's pond.
that is a throwback there.
I don't know how I feel about this one. I initial taste is telling me that it's very plain or something, like in terms of what a brown ale. Like, okay, so we keep mentioning the old beers we had for the last episode, but like there was lots of flavors. We know there's hints of like maple syrup and chocolate in the next one. This seems very, without comparing it to too much, it seems bland as like as an instant reaction for me.
Yeah, I'd say, Kinger, the thing maybe that you're feeling there is because this is more of a plain brown ale, whereas with the other ones that we tried, they were, gingerbread brown ale and macadamia nut brown ale. So this is probably more true to style, which is why it's kind of more plain. A thing with brown ales, especially the kind of regular brown ales, is a lot of people seem to recommend them as a starter for people getting into craft beers because there's not a whole lot going on. Like, it's not over the top hoppy or it's not over the top malty. It's kind of down the middle, which I think is, for me, it's a good way to get into it. Or if you haven't had a brown ale in a while, it's a nice one to kind of go back to. If you get just a normal brown ale, you're not really you can't get it too wrong. You know what I mean?
This reminds me of a lot of nice craft stouts I've had, in that it's got a nice rich taste to it. It's very low carbonation, and also the flavors that are in it, the kind of caramelly, burnt toffee kind of taste. It's really subtle, so it's really like you get the beer and then you get this kind of sweet toffee, roasted caramel flavor at the end, but it's not really overpowering. It's nice and subtle, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I'm happily surprised.
One point when you were saying, Ali, it's a good kind of gateway into craft to craft beer in general, and I see what you mean. But that kind of burnt toffee, caramel, chocolatey, which, say someone that's, they're drinking their standard, Coors or whatever, starting into something like this might, I don't know, I nearly come across like it's nearly a lot very heavy tasting, so it might put people off. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I suppose, Walty, that's a good point. Like, but I suppose it depends on, like any of them, I suppose it depends on what they're coming from. Like, if you were coming from Guinness or Smithwick's or something like that, brown ales might be an easy way to get into it. If you're coming from more the lagers, if you're coming from lagers and stuff like that, you might want to go with type of a pale ale or something. This brown ale, they're quite similar to the Irish Red, aren't they? Like that kind of flavor. I think the Irish Reds might be a bit more malty or something, but they're similar enough.
Yeah, I'm finding this is very like it has that kind of, we speak about as well of a beer coat in your mouth and the taste hanging around an awful lot after you've had the beer. Maybe it's just not. Maybe it's just not my. It's not to my taste. I think it's too. I think it's very bitter. I think it's very like. There's something mildly unpleasant about it, like with each mouthful. But subjective enough. I'd say it's personal taste, really.
People say a lot of things are mildly unpleasant with each mouthful, but moving on from that comment that you made, Kinner, I actually think Nally, your point about red ales is quite good. The caramel kind of flavours there, the malt forwardness is really true like a red ale. But I think maybe it's the brown ale style, but for me it's gotten in between there and a porter, and I enjoy the subtlety and I enjoy the bitterness. I think the bitterness complements the kind of toffee and caramel flavours, which are quite sweet. I think it gives it a nice full body.
Yeah, I think, Mark, just on that real quick, I think the thing with this is, so with Irish reds and stuff like that, the malts they use wouldn't be as roasted as this. So I think these kind of have a slightly more roasted, maybe nutty kind of flavour, as opposed to the caramel sweetness of the red ales. These are a bit more nutty, a bit more earthy or something like that, which gives it that kind of bitterness. It's kind of like the bitterness, Kinger. It's kind of, just that you mentioned, it's kind of more like a coffee kind of bitterness as opposed to a really bitter IPA or something.
I mean, I'd nearly start rating this one right now. I don't know if you have much more to say about it, or
go for it.
Yeah, fire away.
Well, as everyone knows at this stage, the Crafty Crew rating system starts with unbearable. It then goes booze. Down the line, middle of the road is just beer. Enjoyable is brutal, and then it goes unbeerleavable. So I'm cracking this off as a booze. I won't be rushing out to get this anytime soon. I'll finish it just to get it out of the glass, but I'm not enjoying that. It's definitely a personal taste thing. Maybe brown ales just aren't for me. We'll have to wait and see what the next one says.
Yeah, I'm just gonna disagree with you with a hard left turn there, Kinger. I really enjoy this. I like the earthy flavours, the caramel, burnt toffee sweetness of it. The bitterness complements that. I think it's got a rich full body. It's a nice mouthfeel to it, which we didn't, as you said, it kind of lingers on the palate, adds taste. But as I drink more of it, what I am enjoying is that the aftertaste isn't building to kind of an unbearable sweetness. It's maintaining pretty steady. And for those reasons, I'm going to give it a beautiful.
So, I am at an impasse nearly with it.
It's a big word, Walshy.
Hey, to be honest, I was surprised I got that word right. So, you know what I mean? So, I'll take it.
It's Walshy's word of the day.
See, I was going
to... how will I use that today?
I was going to say I also had my hello, but I can't remember the words. So, sorry to our Turkish followers, I suppose. I know. I do enjoy it. I think it's very nice. But in saying that, would I voluntarily go out and get it again? Probably not. But for what it is in a brown ale, I do really enjoy it. So I'll go straight up just beer. Probably leaning up a little bit, but I'll go just beer.
Yeah, so beautiful for me. That's it. I like it. I think it's really good. I think it's a good example of a brown ale. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think everything that they're trying to do with it, they've done well. It's not overly carbonated. It's sweet. But like Mark said, it doesn't build too much in the aftertaste or anything like that. I really enjoy that, and I will 100% would get that again. It's not spectacular. It's not it's not at the top of the line, but yeah, I'm happy out with that. Beautiful for me. But I think because of Kinger's booze, Walshy is the one that's going to win out on this.
Can I retract mine?
No.
Nope.
It's never been done before, Walshy. There's no precedence for this.
Well, it depends. What way are you going to go?
I lean with the two boys.
Okay, you can't then. We have to take your first answer.
Okay, fair enough. No,
and,
that's fair. That's fair.
The edit is king, so it makes absolutely zero difference whether you change it or not.
Yeah, it's just not going in.
Okay, well look, as I down the last of my brown ale here, it's a just beer from the Crafty Crew podcast for Bambricks Brown Ale from Ballykilcavan. Okay, so this is a bit of a weird one, and it's more of a what you, like how much you back yourself in terms of your ability to sell craft beer, right? Oh. So now that we've done what 12 episodes, 13 episodes of the podcast. By no means do I see myself as a connoisseur of craft beers. I just like them. But how well do you think you can convince a non-craft beer drinker to take up craft beer?
I think I can do this to a certain group of people, right? So I'm still in work every day, unaffected by COVID. Everyone I work with, okay, they have, most of us, no social life anymore because we're all in lockdown. We're all in lockdown. And I think just my incessant badgering about craft beers has tried at least convinced at least two people to give them a go.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I've had one or two people who I work with who also enjoy them. And, when I incessantly badger people and then those people turn to the other known craft beer drinkers and are like, is this actually nice? And they kind of, slyly back me up and be like, oh, yeah, give it a go. But I think given, people being forced to be in an environment with me for a period of time every day, I can slowly wear them down until they'll try craft beer because it's easier to say they've tried it to get me off their back.
So to sum that up, Mark has gone with the Stockholm Syndrome method. Correct. Yes, he just get his captors, his hostages to like him. That's it. That's what's happened there. I don't know if I could sell craft beer to people. If I like it, I'm going to tell you it's good. If I don't, I'm going to tell you it's not.
Okay.
I'm not. I wouldn't be the best. I wouldn't be the best at coming up with, slogans or things like that. So I avoid marketing as much as possible. It seems like effort. And God bless the people who do that for a job. I mean, they must be very intelligent people. I really feel like people who are able to come up with things like that and write scripts for job, for just companies come to you with an idea and you're like, damn, I know how I can sell the shit out of this. People who do that as a job.
I feel maybe, Nally, you might have taken my question of can you sell craft beer too literally. I just mean like getting someone who only drinks Coors or only drinks Bud to maybe switch to a Dead Center or a Hope Brewery or something just different for a change. That, I didn't want you to come up with like a massive marketing campaign to sell craft beer as a whole to the nation.
Well, no,
maybe he did, and that was his assignment in work this week.
Well, that's what I was figuring. That's why I was going on about it.
You'll never know.
Well, yeah, of course we won't, because there's zero help with that.
Yeah.
Thinking about, I suppose I kind of have done with a few people. Like, I know we have it. The four of us, we thoroughly enjoy our craft beer, and we have other friends that have started drinking craft beer.
We have other friends.
More, maybe because the four of us in the evenings talking about it as much. Some of my family members, the thoughts of craft beer would probably sicken them. But if I'm out there and I have a load of craft beer cans, I'm like, here, try this one. Now, 9 times out of 10, they're like, what is this absolute nonsense you're drinking?
Yeah.
But there is the odd one or two who was like, do you know what, Walshy, this is absolutely beautiful.
The mask slips.
Yes, sorry. My they know how to find me now. They know my full name. My sister actually for some reason loves Galway Hooker's Cherry Stout, and she was like, well, where can I find this? And she obviously doesn't call me Walshy, but she wants more of that, and even my other sister wants to get a couple of sours, and that's just solely by me having them. Is like, look, give it a lash.
Yeah.
Whereas my father and mother would be like, if you ever make me drink this again, you're disowned. So
Yeah, I've gotten a few people into it. So there's one or two people out in work. One of the lads that we played ball with and stuff, just big fan of Coors or Canadian and would just generally drink that. But after mentioning a couple of different beers, so he's gotten onto Yellow Belly's Citra. Big fan of that, so he is. So, you get a few people into it. I feel like if I can eventually get my old fella to try a couple of craft beers, I will have completed the game.
Oh, life goal to get my father on something.
That's the dream for me. So just very quickly then, bonus follow-up question, and I only just want one snap answer from each of you. What's your weapon of choice to convert someone from your regular Buds, Heineken's type drinker to a craft beer? So just give me one beer. That's it.
I think a Seeking Sunshine from Dead Center might be a good gateway for anybody that drinks like a Coors or something like that.
Okay, well I'll throw mine in because my mom tried very strangely Yellow Belly's Castaway over Christmas, and she fucking fell in love with it.
Really?
So it's unreal what type of a sour beer or what type of a craft beer might convert someone to try something different. Because she's a G&T drinker and maybe a vodka drinker now and again. Beers wouldn't be her thing at all. So
because with that, of all the sour beers, that's probably the
sour,
most sourish beer I've had.
Yeah.
Now saying that, my sister did enjoy it, but when she tried it initially, she was like, "Whoa." Because you get that sourness, and you're like, your whole face cringes.
Yeah. Mark?
Yeah, I think I'd go with a Session IPA. And I think something like Dead Pony Club, or I had two recently, one Cheap Flirt by Brew, which is quite nice. And if I had to pick one of the three, it would be one, it's called Saucery by Magic Rock Brewing. I think they're a really good brewery, and Saucery is a delicious beer. And I think because of the lower alcohol, it's got flavors of IPA and stuff in it, which is the big brand, but it doesn't have the full kick of it. And I think that'll just get somebody into it a bit easier.
Just as you're saying, Session IPA is going off last week. That Lumina.
Yeah, I'd give
be
them
a bad
that.
show either.
Yeah, so for me, it would be there's Whiplash, who actually we're going to try next. But they make a great American Pale Ale. It's called Body Riddle. And it'd be a similar idea to you, Mark. I've gone with kind of a low ABV beer to get people into it. I don't think it's too hoppy. It's not over the top. It's a low ABV. I really like the beer, and I think because it has enough about it, but it's not too much, it might be a good kind of way for people to start off getting into it.
Nally, just quickly, before you introduce us to our second beer, I feel like I have to make an admission. I would love to track a craft drinker's journey from their first beer to their favorite beer, and then how that evolves. So you three will know me as a double IPA man. I love double IPAs. Yeah. I'm starting to feel like Ambers are my new favorite.
Oh, yes.
Get in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ambers are
absolutely fantastic.
It'll work out for you well in the long run, Kinger, as well, because you might be able to go out and have 5 or 6 points as opposed to 2 or 3 and survive the night
Nally, we've delayed enough. Where are we going next for our next brown ale?
So it's Whiplash Brewery, and their brown ale is the Ocean Wide. I was just having a quick look, and Untapped, sometimes they have these details about the beer. So I just had a quick look, and apparently this beer was brewed in loving memory of fungi. So
What?
yeah, I shit you not, man. That's what it says in the details. In loving memory of fungi.
And interestingly, as we speak about the cans, sometimes the picture of this, and we've spoke before about Whiplash's can design, that it's very simplistic, just a plain white can, and it looks like an old man or an old woman with a cap on, looking wistfully out to the ocean wide, as is the name of the beer, looking out at what could be seen as like a whale's fin or a dolphin's fin. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm going to crack this open now, lads. So if you want to do that as well.
I find the head doesn't stick around as much as the Bambricks. It's not as heavy. There's a tiny
We're
bit.
not quite there yet, Walsh.
Oh no, I am.
You were.
Sure.
Because I know we have that kind of transition talk, so
I think
as we're pouring, so that's what I thought that was.
this Whiplash Brewery seem to have a similar style with their cans as a couple of the ones that we've all really liked. You know, it's the artwork. You know straight away it's a Whiplash
Yeah.
drink.
Love
That
it.
white art, the white background with just some random artwork on it. They're pretty cool, so they are. So just quickly, I don't think we called it out on the last one. The Bambricks Brown Ale was where is it gone now? It was 5.8%. Yeah, whereas this one has gone up to 6.8.
See it?
So we're having a good time here in the podcast.
It's a big jump. So smell instantly is a lot more sweeter.
Oh yeah, definitely sweeter. You can get that maple straight away.
It's a lot sweeter. Yeah.
There's I don't know if the head definitely isn't as poignant. Is that another? I'm trying.
It's a
to think
word.
words
It's
here.
a word.
I'm trying
Doesn't
to
really
think
work
words.
there.
No.
It's a word. I don't know if it's the one you'd use
Okay.
here.
It's not as prominent, maybe, Walshy.
Hey,
is
I
the word you're
knew
looking
I knew it began with a P. I mean, it's a start. Yeah, but the difference in the head between this and the Bambricks is very,
Poignant.
very
Noticeable. It's
Yeah,
poignant.
poignant. Yeah. What?
Let me edit in some poignant music here in the background now, just like a real just yeah.
Sad hug.
Okay, well, I mean, the head doesn't hang around, but even as it poured, like, it looked a lot smoother than Bambricks Brown Ale for some reason, and it's even now, like, looking at it like into the light, it's maybe fractionally brighter. Like, it's brown, it's not completely black. Do you know?
I would say this is brown. The last one was
Yeah.
black.
Yeah.
I think while there's not much of a difference when you're looking through a glass, like if you kind of hold it straight at the light and
Yeah.
kind of look at the edge, you really get the color.
Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah, it's a bit lighter in color. For me, the head's sticking around a bit. I don't know. I know the lads kind of went out and cleaned out their glasses in between, but
No, it's same for me.
Oh.
I think it's because we used a fresh glass.
yeah, pint glass though.
Well, I used a fresh glass.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's hanging around a bit. But the smell is definitely sweeter than the last one. So it is. You can get that maple on it. They just started reading on it. It's got the other thing with Whiplash is they give all the ingredients on the front of their can, which is really cool. I know I've said before, I love it when breweries give you the hops they've used in the beer. So it's kind of cool. Like, they've used Columbus hops in this, and it's interesting to have them there. But it flat out says they've used maple syrup in this beer. So I haven't had a go of it yet. I'm looking forward to it to see how noticeable it is, because it's there from the smell anyway.
So, I've had a couple of beers from Whiplash, and they've never let me down. Their double IPA, actually, Cream on Chrome, it's definitely probably my top 2 or 3 double IPAs that I've had.
You're going in a direction here, Kinger.
Hey, this doesn't change my mind. This
Ooh.
is fantastic.
I
Fantastic.
I have to say, I've had my first couple of mouthfuls of this. It is quite delicious.
It's nice.
I was a bit hesitant with how sweet it was, that I thought it was going down the last episode brown ale route. But the maple gives it a kind of consistency. I actually think I can kind of like feel the maple syrup in the mouthfeel, which might sound crazy, and I could be just psychosomatically putting that there, but I do think it's a really smooth but somewhat viscous beer. I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. I think it is. It is mildly syrupy when you're drinking it. You can kind of, like, I don't know if I've been, tricked into it by reading the can, but you can definitely there's something there that's a bit different. I feel like Walshy's going to explode if he doesn't get to say something about it. We were all talking it up there, saying it was a lovely beer, but
Negative.
I don't know if Walshy's in the same line as us.
I feel like he disagrees.
I wouldn't heavily disagree, but I think it's too sweet. And let me say that, and I had a reference, but I prefer the Bambricks a lot more. It doesn't have I think this is far too sweet for my liking.
Hang on now. Sorry, I know that everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Are we though?
But I have to call you out here. Yourself and Nally are two men who drink stouts with like the most incredible, decadent and sweet flavors in them. You're a man who has been a martyr for the sour cause since the start of this podcast, which will have a lot of fruity and very sweet taste, and this is too much for you. That doesn't make sense.
As brown ales go, it is.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'll take it. I'll yeah.
Well,
Like a sour, I expect a sour to be very sweet.
There's just Kinger. There's just no point arguing with him.
Well, I mean,
I tell you now.
No,
12 weeks. I've learned. Just let him have it. Just thanks, Walshy.
No. I wouldn't be that dismissive. To be fair, I, as I said at the start of that, everyone is entitled to their opinion. I'm very surprised as someone who likes very decadent stouts and very, tangy and fruity sweet sours that this would be a step too far for you. It's a surprise.
I think if you had this sweetness in a sour, it might be different, but it's not a sour. It's a brown ale. I mean, I wouldn't even like this sweetness in a stout. Now it could be different if it said stout and it switched it up a bit, but I don't know. It's the sweetness is kind of putting me off a little bit.
So I'm going to swing a bit of a curveball opinion in here, right? I think the maple syrup, as me and Ali have said, maybe it's in our heads, but the maple syrup kind of or consistency that kind of comes through with this makes me think, combined with what I have to say is a fabulous taste, makes me kind of think that, you know what, maybe if I'm in the pub one hopefully Saturday and around Christmas and I've had Guinness for 6 weeks and somehow, somewhere there's 2 cans of this behind the bar, I'll be like, you know what, I'm going to have some Whiplash. Because this stuff with the consistency really gives you that same satisfying feel as a Guinness, and the taste is delicious. I have to say, I love this beer.
yeah, so I get what Walsh is saying about the sweetness. It is quite sweet. I like it. It's not a down thing for me. I like it. I think Walshy, if this was put in front of you and it said, maple stout, I reckon your opinion of this is going to go through the roof, because this is nowhere near as sweet as some of the stouts that, like, for example, Rascal's Candyman, that I know you're a huge fan of. This is nowhere near as sweet as that, in my opinion. I think Candyman will be a lot sweeter than this.
The likes of a Candyman, I think there's a little bit of bias because I'm obsessed with salted caramel, so that probably plays a factor.
Yeah,
but this is too sweet.
But you see, but that's what I mean. It's like,
that,
I'm obsessed with salted caramel anything, so that's probably why I love them much. And maple, probably, I haven't had a lot of maple. Maybe it's not a flavour that I'm familiar with yet, so that's why I'm probably a little iffy on it.
I think us trying to second guess the calculations and knowledge of bollocksology that's going through what she's saying right now, as bollocksology layman, okay, compared to an MD over here, or sorry, a BD.
A BD,
yeah. We can understand, like, he's got 7 years of education and however many of experience adjusting his decision. We don't have that, so the bollocks he's sprouting is much more qualified than ours.
Probably more about 7 minutes. I mean, let's be honest here. Do you know what I mean? I kind of winging it here, but like, I mean,
is that how long it took you to buy the online doctor? So was it 7 minutes?
More so to echo what Mark said. Like, if I'm sitting in I'm from a small village in the west of Ireland called Kerndulla, and like Henley's Bar is where everyone goes every Friday night. It's a small local bar. There's a fire in the corner. The same 10 lads are sitting around the bar. TV's on, showing whatever sport is on at the time, and it's where everyone goes for like a Guinness, right? But if I happen to get sick of Guinness on any given night, I'm having this as a substitute, and it's like, that's not far off it for me. Like, it's
you're not disappointed, aren't you? You're
not disappointed at all.
It's
incredible.
So, Kinger, can you just tell me this fairy tale of people in, what was that you said? A pub, was it? What's that?
Pub, yeah. So it's this place where people go, they gather at the same time, and you order drinks from a person behind the bar. They serve you the drink, you give them money, and then you drink it at your own leisure.
What?
It's a magical place.
It's madness.
I thought a pub was a singular noun for a pube. No.
No.
It's not
they existed before lockdown.
I feel like
a lot of people.
It can be a lot of people, yeah. It can be up to
Wow.
maybe,
Kinger,
depending on the size of the pub.
Ooh.
This is better bollocksology than I've heard Walshy say in a while. I don't believe you. I don't think this magical world.
Hey,
You should have his
hey,
doctor.
oh.
This magical world can't exist, surely.
I'll just show myself out, so.
Okay, so look, unless we have any more to say about Whiplash's The Ocean Wide, do we want to start the ratings off with this one?
Yeah, and I want Nally to go first.
Oh, you sneaky dog.
Okay.
Nally never goes
Interesting.
first. Nally always
never goes
sees
first,
which
actually.
ways
That
the
is
wind
true.
blowing.
I do.
Yeah,
Let's
that
make
is
him
true.
go first.
I've gone first on many occasions, possibly.
Name one.
But shut
Do
up,
you want me to
Walshy.
go first then?
No, I'll go first. I'm only messing with you. I'll go first, yeah. So this is a nice beer, and I would get it again. I'm not quite where ye are, lads. I'm not going to substitute this for Guinness or anything in my opinion. I'm down with it. I like it. It's grand. Not going to go out of my way to find it again. If I want something this sweet, like King I was saying, some of those other stouts, I kind of just prefer the way the stouts are when they're made like this. So I'd probably go that route if I was looking for something that sweet again. So for me, it's just beer.
Yeah.
It's on the higher end of it, but it is just beer to me. I'm happy out with it. Like, it's grand.
Jesus.
Well, that's just beer is grand. Be like, I don't see how this is a Jesus. It's not like I've said it's unbearable. I also wasn't
I
ranting
feel
about
like
it.
you just.
I haven't gone about it the way you have, I would substitute this for Guinness. No, I wouldn't.
We never
So-
said we'd substitute it for Guinness. We said
Yeah,
true.
true.
But fair enough. I'm just
Kinger,
surprised you're
Kinger
giving it a
literally
slightly
said,
lower rating
Kinger
than
literally
Ballyclare
said, I would substitute this for Guinness if I've had Guinness for a while and I want to change it.
He did.
I said if I happen to get sick of Guinness for whatever reason, I would switch to this if it was available. I didn't say I'd substitute it.
all right.
Like-
okay.
Guinness in my mind is untouchable. That's always
Yeah,
been
no,
a
that's
thing,
fair.
so,
maybe bank holiday weekend. You've had 10 Guinness Friday, 10 Guinness Saturday, and then you're there Sunday, and you're like, you know what? I'll have this, and then but also you're not going to be disappointed. You're like still going to really enjoy it. We're not saying it's better than Guinness or equivalent to Guinness. We're just saying that it could be used instead of it if you were sick of Guinness. And
It's
you
a
wouldn't
fantastic alternative.
Yeah, you wouldn't feel like you were missing out.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. But for me, if I was going down that route, I'd go down with a stout instead of this. You know what I mean? That's just the way I go.
enough.
So for me, it's just beer.
Okay,
It's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not overly special in my mind.
Okay. I mean, I feel like I'll go next and counter you, and I'll say for me, this is unbelievable. And I know I get a bad rap for being like overly positive about beers in this, right? But we got married a couple of years ago, me and my wife. And
Just to clarify,
just to clarify,
I knew we were good friends, Kinger, but
we,
Yeah, four of us. We got married a couple of years ago. And
if we had the option to hand a beer out for dessert, to have with dessert, I would be buying whatever 200 and whatever people were at the wedding. I'd be having this given to everyone on their table to have with dessert. I think it's a fantastic beer for what it is.
Yeah.
I would definitely go and get it again, and unbelievable for me is I think like it's a fantastic beer.
yeah, I'll row in after you. I'm really disappointed in this week's episode because I love bitching and moaning and griping at things. And I came in here.
Do you?
Yeah, you all know that. Anyone who's listening to this podcast knows I want to have a go at something at some stage. And I've come in here with a negative opinion of brown ales in my little, trolley world, being like, I'm going to fucking destroy them. And I've been really pleasantly surprised. I've really enjoyed the Bambricks one. But for all the reasons you said, Kinger, for everything I said previously, unbelievable for me. It's all up to you, Walshy.
Here we
Like-
go.
no. Hold on now. I never said.
It's
see,
not a stout. I don't like it.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's not that. See, and Nally brought up the point about the Candyman. But that's salted caramel. I'm obsessed with salted caramel. Maybe it's the maple. And it's not that I think it's a bad beer at all. It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I would prefer the Bambricks myself. But instead, I'd give it a just beer as well. Be a lower just beer for me on that one. But be a solid just beer. I mean, I like it, but I wouldn't be going telling people about it, either.
Okay. I just have to check now. You don't want to change your rating.
Hold on.
You're sticking with it.
I wasn't allowed to change it last time, so...
Quick, flash 50 quid in front of the camera, Adam.
Hey, I will change my answer for...
Hey, Walshy.
You know what I mean? I can.
What do you change your answer for?
No one else. Nobody
unbearable.
else. Nobody else can see what Mark is like pulling his top down. So that might change Walshy's opinion for a more negative review. If I'm
very
honest.
much so.
Oh, that's harsh.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that gives Whiplash's The Ocean Wide Brown Ale a Brutiful.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a Brutiful rating.
Yeah. I would like to say I think that's a very fair rating from the Crafty Crew podcast.
100%.
I think.
Yep.
I know. I said mine was just beer. It was on the higher end, and I think Brutiful is probably the fairest reflection from the four of us of where it should be. I can't argue with a Brutiful rating from the podcast as a whole. It's a good beer, like.
Okay, Mark, for this week's quiz/question, we love getting suggestions and questions in from listeners. So just before we get to that, if people do want to send in their own questions or their own quizzes to us, where can they find us?
Yeah, so on Facebook, might be the easiest for everybody. We're the Crafty Crew podcast. Just search us and you can like us, follow us there. We post up links to all of our episodes every Friday morning. In terms of where you can listen to us, everywhere you listen to your podcast. Okay, so all the major streaming services, Spotify, SoundCloud, Anchor, YouTube, we're there as well. We are everywhere. And we are everywhere.
All your base belong to us.
Yeah, and if you feel like, I want to send an email because I'm a pretty formal person and I like the kind of business life, craftycrewpodcast@gmail.com, all lowercase, no spaces. Thank you very much.
Cool. So we normally, if a question is sent in, it's kind of whichever one of us in our group sees it first. So Mark happened to see this one first, so he's going to be asking us the question. So I'm a bit nervous being in the other side of this, so hit us up.
Well, how the turns have tabled. Okay, so long-time friend of the podcast, Adam, has sent us in he sent us in 4 scenarios, okay? And I'm going to put 45 seconds on the clock for each of you, for each scenario. Now, obviously, answer quicker if you want. But that's how it's going to be, okay? So I'm going to put 45 seconds on the clock after I read it out. Then I'm going to go snap answers off each of you. So we all understand how it's going to work?
Sure.
Kinger normally does it by who's on his screen. So on my screen, I have Walshy, Nally, and then Kinger. So that's who I'm going to ask them. So Walshy, you're going to have to answer first. Nally in the middle. And Kinger, you have the nice, easy last place answer. And I'm going to reverse it for each question, though, okay?
Snake draft.
But I guess there's no scoring in this. It's just kind of our opinions on something, is it? It's
not I'm just going to pick whichever answer I like. Okay, so we all know how it works, and we're going to get ready now. Walshy, prepare to get 0 points. But apart from that, how are we feeling?
I don't know.
So
I'm not
Adam,
great for thinking on the spot.
Yeah, so Adam, thank you so much for sending this in. We really appreciate it. And guys, if you send in anything, it'll be on the next podcast, guaranteed.
100%.
And you think of
I'm not thinking about
the shite we come up with.
Yeah, well, that's not wrong.
So, scenario 1. Okay. You walk into your local, a small pub. It's a cold winter's night. Or could also be an Irish summer one. There's a big open fire. A few Christmas lights around. What pint of beer do you go straight for? Okay? So I leave it up to you guys, and, whichever answer impresses me the best in 28 seconds will be the one that gets the points. So just have a think about it, For me, Adam's like, you get in the pub and like kind of maybe you see your mates out the corner of your eye because you're like a little late, but you're like the bar's in front of you, so you're like, oh, I'll go to the bar first and I'll order. Then I'll go catch up with the lads or ladies.
Oh.
So you've got.
So is Walshy answering
first? Walshy's got to answer first in 5, 4, 3, 2. No explanations, please. What's your answer?
Seeking Sunshine.
Seeking Sunshine. Nally, what is your answer?
Christmas Guinness.
Oh, very good. Kinger.
Can I say Guinness also?
I suppose you can, yeah.
Rat.
Nothing stopping you from saying the same thing. Bearing in mind that my judgment is all that's deciding the points. Okay, you got to answer now, though. Come on, you got to answer. Stop.
Guinness. Guinness is what I was going to go for.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to give Nally 2 points. So, like Taskmaster, it'll be like the amount of people dictates the amount of points, okay?
Yeah,
so, Nally, I'm going to give you 2 points, because, yeah, it's Christmas, and Guinness is that. Walshy, you're getting 1 point because picking Seeking Sunshine was way too predictable for you. You are basically the whipping boy of Dead Center. So you're gonna need to change up your style for the next 3 scenarios.
But like,
Kinger,
I don't go off scenarios.
Whoa, Walshy, hang on. I don't know if you've watched Taskmaster. Nobody argues. Nobody argues.
I don't even know. I don't know what it is.
If you want to argue, I'll give you 0 points. I can do that.
Oh no, I wasn't arguing. But I've said it before. The time of the year never really mattered to what I ordered. Is all I was going to say.
That's fair.
Okay.
But,
well, you
know.
didn't listen to the scenario. Then. Okay. Kinger, I want to give you 1 point because you just copied Nally, but because it's like a Christmas Guinness, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt this time and give you 2.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Oh, dude.
So no, he's getting the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So Adam has what I have to say is probably a pretty realistic scenario for scenario number 2. Are we all ready?
Yeah.
Okay. It's 2035 and COVID has left.
Yes.
You can go on your yearly holidays to Salt Hill and chill on the beach with half of the west of Ireland.
Yes, I love it.
On the one good weekend of weather we get.
So
can I also say you could also chill by the aquarium?
So it's leaving cert time. Is what's
Hashtag
happening.
Galway knowledge.
It's leaving cert.
It's leaving cert time. It's leaving cert time, and you're like, you're barred from or what is it, Key Street and Shop Street. So you don't go to Spurch. You go down here. Okay, so what cans have you got in the cooler? Go. 45 seconds starting now. So guys, you 45 seconds to think about it. The way he's throwing this out there, don't forget it's 2035. So we're all like, 14 years older?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna come into it. My rough guesses of your ages.
Jesus, I'm on the way to 60 at that stage.
Is going to come into the tallying of the points for this. So kind of mid 40s or Walshy.
Does it have to be
Hey.
cans?
Yes. What cans have you in the cooler? It has to be cans. Okay. 10 seconds left, guys. This is going to be an interesting one.
You're not going to like my answer. My answer is hot day on the beach in Salt Hill. I'm having cans of Bulmers.
I said I wanted no explanations. Just an answer. Cans of Bulmers. On to you,
Ice
Nally.
cold yellow belly castaway.
Okay, very good. And on to you, Walshy.
Damn it, Ali. I'll go White Hag Hoppy Lager.
Yeah.
Because I think at that age I'd end up sticking to lager.
Okay. There's some very interesting things here. Okay, so firstly, we'll start with Nally.
I thought we were going to dismiss Kinger for his cider straight out the bat.
Let me start with you, okay? I'm going to give you 2 points because very nice beer, and the reason you're getting 2 and not 1 is because Yellow Belly is very readily available, probably won't go out of business by 2035. Walshy, you're getting 2 points as well. Good choice, I agree with you. As you get older, probably lagers just get easier, and the White Hag are now in Lidl, so you're going to get them for
Are they?
all.
Oh, I see. Henry.
Kinger. I gave you the benefit of the doubt the last time, and then you had to say Bulmers. 0 points.
That's okay. Yeah.
To discuss.
Oh my god, the power of this goes my head.
Irlande nilpa.
So Kinger, this scenario 3, Walshy's going to go first again, and I think this will.
No. Sorry, can I request something?
Yeah.
Can Nally not go second?
Yeah, Nally can go first this time. So Nally's going first, and then Walshy and Kinger have an extra 10 seconds to think about it. Scenario number 3. I'm going to call this the Kinger scenario, Adam, if that's okay with you, because it should go right into his wheelhouse. So you're at a decent restaurant. Decent now, not decent. Decent. Yourself and the other half, or maybe just yourself and a sound roommate,
Okay.
are there.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
Walshy was so insulted.
Well, she was a light up there.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know how to answer this.
Okay, yourself and the other half, or maybe a sound roommate are there. You order your favourite meal, okay? What bottle of beer are you pairing it with?
Oh,
Go.
God.
So you have 45 seconds to think about this now. It's your favourite meal, so you're going to need to remember what that is first. And I want your favourite meal and the bottle of beer, you're pairing it with. And Nally, you have 33 seconds, while she and Kinger, you have 43. Okay, time is up. Nally, what's your answer?
So I think steak, chips, and pepper sauce, and Vesmal triple.
Ooh, Vesmal triple. Oh, very good. Okay, Walshy, you're over in second now. What do you got?
Right, I think an old chicken curry with Hope's seasonal Christmas red ale.
Oh, that's very good. Have you been looking at my Untapped? Kinger, what are
No,
you?
I have not. I had something else, and I was
just a
like,
quick
oh
one.
no, that one's solid.
Just a quick one, Mark. You said bottle, right?
Yeah, it's a bottle. I know what he said.
That's
Let's
fine.
leave that till the end. Okay, Kinger.
We can revisit that, yeah. I would go
Damn it.
with a nice medium rare steak, and like maybe twice cooked chips, which I know is a bit arsey, but they're lovely and crispy. And I would have a bottle of Alska kiwi and lime.
Okay, here's where I'm going. I didn't really like the Vesmala triple because I'm not a fan of cloves,
Yeah.
but I understand its importance. Nally, 3 points.
Way!
valid answer.
Wow.
Way!
Kinger, I see where you're going. The crispiness of the fries and the like the nice steak, and then a nice sweet refreshing cider. So I'm gonna give you 2 points.
Solid.
Okay. Whilst you were getting 0 points because you said a brewery that doesn't produce bottles, but I'm going to give you 1 point because the brewery was Hope.
Thank you. Yeah, just as you said. But I do actually have one that's in a bottle as well. But
Well, it's too late.
Well,
Just 'cause you
irrelevant.
put it in a
I
bottle
know.
in your kitchen doesn't mean it's sold in a bottle. Okay. All right. So scenario
Raging.
numero
How
4.
are the
okay?
points going, Mark?
Wait, can Nally be caught? I don't think so.
no, I don't. Unless he gets a 0 and I get a 3, I think.
Nally's gotten too many points, okay, in this. So what I'm going to do, I have to leave him with his 2 points for Guinness, because that's a solid shout. Nally, what was your answer again to question number 2?
Yellow Belly Castaway.
Yeah, it's a pretty good answer. Like, I can't really punish him for that.
I know
You
you're going
know
to take
what?
a point
I
off me
didn't
for
really-
Vesmal because you didn't really like it, and that's fair enough.
I didn't really like
like-
Vesmal triple, and you know
also
what? I'm on this power trip, so Nally, instead of 3 points, you get 1 point.
Yeah, I'm glad that you
Okay.
let Kinger away with copying me
Also-
twice, though, going with the steak and chips and the Guinness, like.
I don't think you can. I can get you with the Guinness, okay, but you can't claim steak as yours, okay? That's just
No way.
But it was worth the effort. If you're taking 2 points off me, I'm allowed to try and rob someone else's as well.
Absolutely.
No, hang on. I didn't take the points off you till after. Okay, so here's where we stand. Scenario 4. Walshy, you're on 4
what's the
points.
scores?
Kinger,
Yeah,
you're
okay.
on 4 points. And Nally, you're on 5 points, okay? And this is my favourite of the 4 scenarios. So Adam, great shout on this one. There's a lot of imagination going to have to go into this, okay?
Oh,
But
no.
let's set it in this year. So let's say this event is next Friday and there's no COVID and it's just going to the pub or whatever, okay? It's your son or daughter's 18th birthday.
Ooh.
They're good kids and have never had to drink before. In brackets, pure lies.
Adam knows.
So you've got a bottle or a can or a draft. What do you give them to make it memorable for them? So
Memorable.
the timer has started. I'm going to say one thing. It's already memorable because they're having a drink with their old lad on their 18th. So that bit gets taken out, okay?
Yeah.
Any
There's
beer...
nothing better. There's absolutely nothing better than being able to have a drink with your old lad.
No, it's a special moment. We have all been there. And this is the thing. It's a draft, a bottle, or a can. So it can be whatever you want of whatever beer. I'm going to throw that out there. If it's something that isn't on draft right now, like let's say a craft beer that they don't make a draft of, you can say draft, but I want your answer for both. I want the beer and the style it's being served in. Okay, so 10 seconds. I think Kinger, you're going to have to go first. Walshy, you're going second. Nally, you're going last. 5, 4, 3, 2, and Kinger, what's your answer?
I would have a can of the Ull #Dipper.
Okay, very good. Down your double IPA route, of which you're a big fan.
Have to.
Next up, please, Mr. Paul Walsh. Dr. Paul Walsh, apologies.
Doctor, yeah, thank you. I think that Illumina Session IPA would be a great show.
Now he's remembered something I liked and he's picked it.
No, I just think it'd be a very nice, especially if they're not into craft beer, it'd be a nice, easy drink.
Okay, and what would you have that? Would you have that in a bottle or a can or a draft or?
I think if you could get it on draft, I'd take it.
Take it on draft. Very good.
Take it on draft.
And Nally, plenty of time to think this one through.
Draft marooned, dead center.
Okay, very good. Very good. So, this is a tough one. I'm going to give 1, 2, and 3 points so that we can settle this, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to give Kinger 1 point.
What?
Yeah.
You're joking me.
I'm giving you the 1 point. The double IPA is nice, but it's not, for me, it's not great or whatever. I'm really torn here. We don't have a tiebreaker, so this is going to become awkward because I'm going to give Nally 2 points for his great shout of a delicious beer on draft, and then I'm going to give Walshy 3 points because he not only did he pick something that would enhance the moment, he also tried to brainwash them into craft beer on their 18th birthday. So, that's something that when we're around in 18 years or more doing this podcast.
So, Mark, just 2 things. Number 1, what happened to the no explanations rule? And number 2, I feel like I've won because you took 2 points off me already. So,
okay, I disregard your second point, but I take your first point and I swap the scores around.
Hey! Skip the lads.
Hang on. Whoa. Hang on a second. Didn't we all try and persuade them with a
I
craft
said,
beer?
Yeah, you did.
Exactly.
And the craft beer I liked the most was Maroon, so Nally gets 3 points. I've had all 3 of those beers, and that's the one well, you know what? I did like the Siren Lumina, so I have to say, Kinger, you still got 1 point. I was going to bump Walshy to second.
Wow.
Okay, so at the end of that game, that was so much fun. Nally gets 8.
I need Kinger to be the quizmaster here from now on. This is ridiculous. You're changing answers all. I know Nally would have won regardless, but you're changing around shit too often. Kinger, take your power back right now.
Yeah, he should. And you've never seen Taskmaster. This is how it works.
No, I haven't.
I actually
Nally,
haven't. Congratulations. You're this week's Craft Crew champion with 8 points. Kinger, you're last with 5. So, you have a quiet minute there. Don't say anything. And Walshy, you're second with 6. Very respectful.
Yeah, so Kinger, how does it feel to be on the other side of this now?
I'm more surprised at how quickly you turned on me in terms of me sticking to my double IPAs and wanting to pass my.
I could feel you buttering me up.
Yeah,
wow, I didn't like it.
I will say, for the double IPAs, would that be an ideal thing to get your son or daughter at 18 who you think has never drank before?
Yeah, see, the explanations
I know.
Once the explanations went
you say no explanations, but you quizzed Walshy on whether he would have a can or draft or where.
No, but Walshy hadn't said can or draft.
Then Nally pointed out, and I disregarded it, and I decided based on I've tried all 3 of those beers. Fair enough, the Lumina only last week, and I ranked them. I literally went, okay, take out all the explanations. There's 3 beers and 3 kind of styles of serving. What are my favourite? Marooned, Siren. The drafts give them a little bump in my opinion.
Okay, so this argument about who won and who lost and how good Mark was as Taskmaster went on for way too long. He was terrible. Let's just call it a spade. Next week it's Sweet Beers. I only say that because I came last. He was very good, to be fair. Next week it's Sweet Beers. So it's Hope's Grunt Citrusy Wheat Beer and Lineman Saga Tart Kvike or Kvik or whatever. So looking forward to those. So until then, it's a goodbye from Nally, goodbye from Walshy, goodbye from Mark, and from myself, Kinger. See you next week for the last of this season's Crafty Crew podcast.